All right, man. You know the drill, man. Let's bring it in. MIC podcast, man, where everyone is a master of their own creation. Episode 134, man. And you know the drill. We have another very accomplished, very special guest in the building. Today, we're talking everything drip, fashion, style, fabrics. You feel me? We have the very accomplished, very bright Cathy Olivar in the building, man. What's going on, Cathy?
It's going well.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No, of course, man. Thank you for taking the time. Again, you are in the fashion industry. You have your own fashion brand. And you're coming off with like a not pretty, like a very, very unique and dope event, which we'll be happy to just get your perspective and thoughts on it, just like really see how that went down. But again, I just feel like as far as the fashion industry, it's a very unique lane, and it's just like a very like I don't know, like it's just hard to navigate and like make your own way. So like I think people will really appreciate your story, and just kind of see how you got to where you are.
Yeah, awesome.
For sure, yeah. So just hopping right in. Are you originally from Virginia?
I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I grew up in Northern Virginia. I always say like I'm a DMV girl.
Yeah,
From Manassas, Virginia. So it's about 35, 40 minutes
yeah,
outside of DC.
yeah.
And yeah, I've been there my whole life, and I actually studied fashion design in Arlington, Virginia.
Okay,
So I went to school out there too.
okay.
Now I'm here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, no, I mean, we kind of share that same background. I'm also a DMV, baby as well from Maryland, so yeah, spent pretty much my entire life in Maryland. So that's crazy to hear that you're from VA, Manassas. I think this is like probably like when I graduated to school, like initially, like I had like a little fake job offer out in like Manassas, bro. I don't even know how I got out there. Like I think I took like the Silver Line all the way up to like
Gosh.
like the extreme stop, and then like still had to drive like 20-30 minutes. Like it was,
Oh, it's crazy. I
yeah.
did the reverse. So I was living in Manassas, and when I graduated college, my first job out of there was in Baltimore.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
wow.
drove from like the middle of like Nova out to Baltimore. It
Yeah,
was like about a 2 hour like
that's
drive
crazy.
away. So it was an interesting time.
Yeah, for
DMV
sure.
has interesting
Of
traffic.
course, and just like, for you, like, how was growing up in Virginia? Like, how was your childhood like?
I think it's great. I always like to talk up the DMV
Yeah,
because
facts.
there's not a lot of places like that area,
Super unique, yeah.
and you just get exposed to so much diversity, so
Yeah.
many cultures, and I think that kind of prepared me to, want to search for it wherever I
Right.
go, and be connected with people that have had the same experiences as me, or go seek out like something new. And it's like a very like a tight, I feel like, community.
Yeah, right.
The like people are always proud to represent the
For
DMV
sure, yeah.
wherever we go. I think I'll always have that as a part of me. And yeah, I love Virginia, but I also really love being here in Pittsburgh as
I
well.
was, just on that same note, again, because we were kind of talking off camera a little bit, but like we kind of moved to Pittsburgh around the same time. And for me personally, I just think it has been just a place where I developed a lot, like just, mentally, emotionally, like it just it the experiences I've had here were pretty much all for the better. You know what I mean? So I just kind of throw it back to you, like what brought you to Pittsburgh, and how have you been adjusting to life in the city?
Yeah, so it's a few different reasons that we came to Pittsburgh. So actually, my husband is from Erie, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and so um, we have visited Pittsburgh a few times. A
Oh,
few
yeah.
of his friends from high school
Okay.
studied here for college, and so there was a lot of reasons to visit Pittsburgh in the in between years. And my first time in Pittsburgh was back in 2018.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the city
Yeah.
as soon as I got here. I just really loved, what was going on, like the feeling of something different. And um, yeah, I told my husband, I was like, I think, we're going to end up in Pittsburgh eventually. Like I'm, manifesting it
Yeah.
mostly because I wanted a change of scenery. Like I had said, I have been in Virginia my whole life, and I wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
And here in Pittsburgh, we're now at a good somewhat halfway point between his family and my family.
Yeah,
So
like it's just
it's
like
really nice.
that's even kind of like what fueled my initial just because I mean I'm not gonna reiterate for y'all I won't repeat my story of how I got to Pittsburgh, bro. Like I'd be in that horse, dead. But yeah, like a main reason for just even me considering it was because I was like, listen, if nothing worked out for me here, I can just go back home. It's like a 3-hour drive, and it's not that far. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. And I think another thing too is the affordability of living in the
there you go.
city
Yep.
is
Mm-hmm.
compared to
Second to none.
DC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
crazy.
were in like just outside of DC, and it was
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
yeah,
And especially running the business, I wanted somewhere that offered the opportunity to have flexibility to try, um, you know, new things with my business and still be able to afford to live in a city and support ourselves. And
yeah,
so I think it's great to be somewhere that you can live your dreams and also have fun
yeah.
and do whatever.
No, for sure. And when you came to Pittsburgh, like, was it just like, all right, yeah, I definitely made the right decision. Like this is where I've landed.
Yeah, I think when we were like wrapping up our time in Arlington.
Yeah.
I it came down to maybe like one other city or not, but I think ultimately we both knew
What was the
where
other
we wanted
city?
to go. We were kind of like bouncing around like Richmond, Virginia as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
Very artsy like city.
Yeah.
But it would kind of pull us further away from like all of our friends and
Yeah.
family too. And we had already known a few of our friends here in Pittsburgh as well, so it kind of just the pros and cons were outweighed
Yeah.
for Pittsburgh for sure, and it just made sense.
Sure. Yeah. No, for sure. So, like, would you say like I guess, desire to be an entrepreneur was with you when you were a child, or like was that something like that maybe developed like towards adulthood? Would you say?
I think I always knew that I wanted to do like my own thing,
Yeah.
but I think growing up, it was never like I'm going to be
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Sure.
leading my own brand or
Sure.
company. But I think it was more of a development while I was in school
Okay.
that I realized I didn't necessarily want to delve into the fashion industry like straight on, and I kind of wanted to go off the beaten path and do something different. And yeah, I think when I finally decided to do the business, it kind of just made sense for me. I was like, I have all these ideas in my head, and I think that the best way to execute it is if I just pursue
Just
it
go
myself.
for it. Yeah. What were some of like the other things that like you were already drawn to before like you landed on that?
Yeah, so with fashion design, there's so many avenues you
Yeah.
can really
Right.
fall into, and so there was the option to, of course, go work for a brand.
Fair. Yeah. Right.
Also, actually, one of my first jobs out of college, I worked for a wearable tech company
Oh,
in Baltimore. And
interesting.
so
Okay.
those were like the options in the DMV area.
Yeah. Okay.
So they
Well.
were
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
very fashion centric,
Yeah.
or I guess center for fashion.
Which I mean, that's kind of shocking
Yeah.
for like just like for like a metropolitan area like the DMV for like I guess the fashion industry to like be lacking. I guess for like lack of a better word, like it's kind of strange. Like
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a fashion scene present there.
sure.
If you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to DC Fashion Week,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are a lot of designers that are still there that studied with me in school
That's
as
okay.
well. So there is definitely something going on there for sure. I think like out of school looking for like a full-time job in
Yeah.
fashion
Right.
design, it was kind of like only a few
Of course.
options.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure.
so
Sure.
it
Sure.
was an interesting time having that as my first job.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Definitely. And then so as far as again, just like your other outlets, like was fashion always like what intrigued you creatively? Like just like throughout life, or like was that again just like something that like you just ended up landed on?
Oh, I think it's been a part of my entire being.
Crazy.
Honestly, I like remember my childhood just, having my closet and exploding with stuff
Damn.
that I just
Okay. Yeah.
wanted to kind of mix and match and wear crazy outfits that
Yeah.
didn't really
Word.
make sense. And my mom actually is someone that I attribute like a lot of like my fashionable style with,
So good.
and my creativity. She was like a very like crafty person, and so I kind of like mended those two worlds together, and I got a neighbor of mine gave me my first sewing machine at like 8 years old, and
Wow.
there I was like, this is all I want to do, and I knew from a young age that I wanted to do something in fashion when I grew up, for sure.
Like, why'd you give you the sewing machine? Just because, like, she didn't, like, need to use it no more? Like, what happened? Like, damn.
Yeah, she was an older neighbor, and she was just like, this is just collecting dust in my closet.
Wow.
So
dog.
it's there if you want it. And I was like, I don't know how to sew, but I'll take it. And my mom actually taught me how to sew, and
That's crazy.
she like guided me through like endless projects of like
Yeah.
dolls' clothes or making all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Kind of just get a good feel for it.
Absolutely. That's crazy. Hey, you got your first sewing machine. Like, you just picked up from there, bro. Now, that's nuts. So I just want to, like, kind of fast forward a little bit. So, like, you go to school. What school did you go to, by the way?
I went to Marymount University.
Marymount University. Okay. And you said you studied fashion in school?
Yeah, I went for fashion design.
Gotcha. Okay. So, like, just, when you, like, what was, I guess, when you're getting your degree or what was the plan long term? Because, like, I'm even thinking, like, is Marymount one of the few places that, like, has a fashion, like, program, or like how does that work?
Yeah, actually, it's not too common to find like a fashion program like in the DMV area. So there, I think VCU in Richmond has a fashion program, but Marymount was surprisingly like renowned like
really?
for their fashion program in the area.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
They put on this huge like yearly fashion show there that is known by a lot of people in the DMV. And a lot of people come out for it. And it was I don't remember when I found out about Marymount. I guess I was just kind of looking for schools.
I was about to say,
list of fashion schools I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And, I decided on Marymount. It was close to home, and I heard the program was really good, so for it.
How was your like just experience getting your degree? Like, was it a bit more rigorous than you may initially thought?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really know what was waiting ahead for me in college. I just kind of had my own experience sewing, but I had no form of like technical background in sewing or design. So, I learned everything there, and so it was very rigorous. All 4 years were, we had intense projects every semester, and it really puts you through the test.
Sure, yeah.
You start with a class size of like maybe 15 people, and you graduate with like 5 to 7.
Great, bro.
And for different reasons.
Sure.
It's definitely, it takes some perseverance to push through and understand and learn all it is that it takes to be in fashion design. And
no, absolutely. And just kind of fast forwarding to, because like, I mean, just even before I move on, just like go back to what you said, like, like start the program with 15 people, and then you just see them drop off like flies, like, oh. it's like there's a clip somewhere, you just hear, oh, you're like, oh, who was that? Was that Chris? Yeah. What happened? Like, that's crazy. So like, I mean, just even like, within the world, and like, you're seeing people just kind of like, be like, damn, like, I mean, just get weeded out, like, for lack of a better term. Like, what was that doing for your mentality? And did it just kind of strengthen your resolve and be like, I mean, listen, if they weren't built for it, they weren't. I'm going to stick to my guns and like, keep doing, my thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just kind of like, it's always sad to see someone leave, but for me, it was like, okay, I have to build more resiliency.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That could easily be me too at some point, like one mistake or one missed project, and my whole like college world,
it's over.
And I definitely like through a thick skin through that program, and just it's like the mindset that I carry with me even till today.
Absolutely.
To always push through.
Yeah.
Believe in myself. I think that's the biggest thing too, is like learning that I have it in me
Right.
to accomplish what I want.
Yeah, no, I think building the resiliency is huge, you know. So just kind of, you know, fast forwarding, did you start your brand like proper in 2019?
Yes.
Okay, got you. Okay, got you. So, and if you just want to kind of, you know, walk us through like, you know, what life was looking for you at the time, you know, I mean, just like, you know, leading up to you venturing out and starting your own, you know, fashion brand, like.
So, like I said, my first job out of college was for a wearable technology company.
Okay.
I was like working as a contractor that they brought me in for this specific project, and I wrapped up my contract with them. And so at that point, I was kind of deciding what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I really there was like a burning passion inside of me of like I need to just do my thing because I spent this year doing this really fun and innovative project, and it kind of inspired me, but also pushed me to pursue my personal passion. And I thought, there's no better time than now to just jump in fully into what I've always wanted to do. And, you know, it felt like the, you know, there was so much ahead of me,
Right.
like a lot of clarity in my life to be like, there's nothing stopping me.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
And so it was that feeling of like, it's now or never. Let's just jump into it. I don't know, all the details. I don't know where I'm really going to start or anything in between, but I'm just going to go for it and figure it out like along the way.
Absolutely. And I mean, listen, 2019, it's a great year. A lot of spunk, right? We started off that year with a lot of spunk, but we know what that was before. the magical year, man. And I just want to, get your thoughts on like, when COVID hit, man, because like, you just started this entrepreneurial effort. COVID hits, and like would you say like you started your brand like earlier in 2019, like maybe like towards the end?
Actually, it was towards the end.
Towards the
Yeah,
end,
like around
dude.
October.
Bro,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah, so like this is like months before, like,
Yeah.
because like I think it was like, what was it, March 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's when. Yeah, so like you were like, so yeah, I mean, like, how was that moment for you? And like, what did you do to like just even one just keep motivated and then like navigate through that? Like,
Oh yeah, I obviously no one saw it coming, but
yeah, right.
I don't know what I was really planning for. Well, actually, I think when I started the business, I was like, I'm gonna go do like all these markets outdoor, and try and really get people to like face to face, and
Yeah,
people do pop ups and really like spread the brand
yeah,
and
right.
awareness. And when COVID happened, it
Shut all that. Yeah,
everything stopped, no markets were
right.
opening. And so, I was like, all right, I have to pivot. Like, I have to figure out what I'm going to do. I have already started like kind of like my first like official collection that I was going to start
Good, yeah.
launching. And I decided that I was just going to dive into a website and like
Okay,
build
yeah.
my website, go the e-commerce way.
Okay, yeah, facts, right.
And I had to navigate all of that. That wasn't necessarily my plan. I wanted to do more in person.
Yeah,
at
right.
the beginning, but I had to learn quick how to navigate on social media, how to maneuver through a website building service.
Yeah.
And it was, I feel like it was such an unfortunate thing that happened.
Right.
But I can't imagine what the alternative would have been like.
Right, yeah,
I can't
facts,
imagine
right.
what this brand would be, without pushing myself to, really pivot and go more towards an avenue that I wasn't leaning towards in the beginning. And I think that's helped me now because I want to be more active online and have that presence and share more with people like from all over. So it's nice to have had that like experience from the start.
Yeah, facts. I mean, like, did anyone give you an idea to do e-commerce? Was that just like, kind of you brainstorming about like, yo, how the fuck am I gonna fucking like, can't even go outside. There's no toilet paper. Shit is crazy.
I think it was more of like, it was more obvious for me at that time. I was like, well, I can't like no stores open for me to go shop at.
Right, yeah.
I'm just gonna have to build
No
like an
brainer, yeah.
online retail space. But I didn't necessarily want to go like through another website to sell my stuff.
Fair.
So
Wow.
I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it my way. So
Yeah.
I want to figure out logistically what I have to do to build up my site and all that.
Facts, yeah. And like what I guess like do you use like Squarespace or like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, Squarespace is a good one. And do you find it easy just like, kind of get your website, up and going or
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
think so. It was kind of like, I used one of their templates.
Yeah, right.
Try to get as many pictures like as
Facts, right, yeah.
get the idea and the vibe going on there. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward in the beginning. I was like, I just need something for someone to click into and shop. And
Yeah, right.
the
And
rest I'll come
we're
back
kind of
and-
like,
and
yeah,
edit
we can,
and
yeah,
add some stuff.
spruce some stuff up,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, and, kudos and props to you for even like, being like, all right, man, I had all this pop up, stuff planned, but now we don't got no toilet paper, and now we got to make a website. You know what I mean? Like, you figured it out, which is super dope. So, kind of shifting a little bit when you decided to move to Pittsburgh, right? Like, I mean, just like as far as being a business owner, like moving locations, like what was the mindset for you as far as that?
I was a little nervous in the beginning because I knew a few people in Pittsburgh already, but I
Okay.
didn't know a lot of people. And
Just from
so
like
I,
school or just like work or
like through mutual friends.
Okay, copy, all right.
Actually, if some of our friends from college actually moved here too.
Oh, okay,
so
dope,
it was
all right,
nice
yeah.
to have like some
A little
familiar
base, yeah,
faces.
facts, right.
But in terms of the business, I was really nervous because it was I had just spent like the last 2 years kind of building a presence in Virginia, and
Yeah,
so I was like, we're
a
back
whole new
on the
network,
start,
yeah, right.
back at the start, and so I had to try and find people to connect with like as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
We landed here, and um, I while I was worried, I was also really excited.
Sure, yeah.
It's always fun to take the brand somewhere else, and expose it to more people because that the people from your former city are still supporting and rooting for you. So you
Right.
have that base there, and now you've moved somewhere else, and you're like, okay, let's just grow this.
Yeah, right.
What we can do, and I still have all the people supporting me back home.
Yep.
And so it was something that, like, even if I drop something online, like I know that at least like my friends back home would support me and like still want to see my stuff. But I was I really love doing outdoor markets and
Okay.
pop-ups. So
Yeah.
that was kind of one of the first things I searched for when I got to Pittsburgh. I was like, okay, this is usually like a good jumping point. It's like getting that face to face with people, like saying my spiel, like my business spiel, and like just kind of building from there, and like really telling people that I'm here.
Yeah, no, yeah, facts. And as far as like breaking, because like I mean, like you said, like you pretty much had to figure out how to make shit happen with like like the people in Pittsburgh with who you knew, or I mean didn't know, like was like how did you navigate breaking into the industry, like the industry within Pittsburgh at least, like
Yeah, so I quickly tried to follow a bunch of like groups on Instagram and like tried to figure out who was behind like some of like the fashion scene, like any art like opportunities as well. And so
just like kind of searching on Instagram.
Yeah.
And all, okay, all right.
And I actually got connected through a friend to Cat Burton.
Shout out to Cat, yeah.
The Children's Museum.
For sure, yeah.
Like almost instantly when I got here. And
It's crazy.
that has been an incredible blessing thus far. I say that she's a mogul, like a Pittsburgh mogul for sure. And she has helped me kind of navigate through the city and guide me to finding what it is that I'm searching for here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, would you say there was any degree of difficulty for you? Like, at least when you like initially came here, like, it was so like, what was that? Was it like all internal? Were there any outside factors for you or?
I think the hardest part is always getting like people to find you, like especially online. You can like put the hashtags and like, put that you're in Pittsburgh, but it's still hard. I think even to this day, I'm like, some people know me, but I feel like maybe I'm still not like a well-known, I guess, in that sense where I'm still kind of hiding in my corner of the city right now. But I think slowly but surely it's one of those things like through people like just starting a conversation and like I think putting myself in new experiences.
Yeah, of
Kind of
course.
push myself because that's the hardest part. I think for sure the biggest challenge is I'm a very introverted person.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to go to like networking events or anything in person. I kind of get really scared to do. So that has definitely been the hardest part navigating is really learning to put myself out there and be able to present myself to the city.
It can only benefit you. Yeah, like it's just it.
I mean, like networking's a part of the game. Yeah, I mean, so it's just like, and like I feel you because, I mean, it probably just like as I'm getting older a little bit. Like I'm 28, but like probably like at like my earlier 20s, I would have been more prone to going out. But I mean, now it's just like I need food, I need a place to sit down. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm not as spunky as I was before. But I definitely get like not even just wanting to be out and like like once you do your work, you know what I mean? Like you just want to go home and chill because you're just like such like a damn near, and like especially for you since you own like your own business, it's like a constant fight or flight over like your child. But it's just like this is literally a part of my soul. Like I'm trying to do everything to make it work. Some of that is networking, but like you also don't like if you have the time, you'd rather chill if you could. Like
oh yeah. And my studio is based inside my home. So
okay, dope.
So I'm like always home.
Okay, gotcha.
Part,
okay,
so
well, all right.
The hardest part. I'm slowly becoming more of a homebody, and it's a one woman show, so I'm in my studio, by myself for several hours a day, and so I have to really hype myself up to go out anywhere and be able to like speak to anybody else.
No, and like again, just like as far as just like being an owner of it all, like. It can be, especially with your studio, based in the crib, like it can just be super easy to just get sucked in to just work, you know what I mean? So it's like, like that's why you got your husband, man, to like pull you out the cave and be like, yo, water, air, sunlight.
He does a great job.
Absolutely.
Like, have you had any water?
Yeah, right.
Have you seen the cats today?
Stay out of the cats, Cathy. Been buried in work all day. Say hi to our children.
No,
that's hilarious.
It's good because I definitely need
No,
that.
absolutely. And like so, like I totally feel you. Like maybe not, maybe wanting to network, but it's a part of the beast, But as far as like when it came to the creation of your brand, at least initially, were there any like points of frustration for you, like any hiccups, like like you maybe dealt with?
I think there is probably like a long list of starting out. I think when you want to do what you have in your brain, like the vision that you have, you're like, I have to execute it like 100%. I want it to look professional. I want it to be legit. So I want to get like all the best equipment, all the best materials, and I think that was the one thing that I had to work through and, tell myself that it's okay to, start small and
absolutely
let the brand grow on its own. I'm going to have to work with my small, like little home sewing machine until I can, afford to buy an industrial sewing machine. And so it was kind of that timeline of like, okay, soon I'll be able to have all the things that, I want, or all the nice tools that I got to use in school to make, the quality clothing. But I think over time, I realized it was for the better, because I appreciate,
absolutely
now, like the space that I have now. I started off in like my bedroom of my apartment in Arlington. I had my sewing machine table next to my bed and like trying to jam like all my personal items and also like fabric and clothing racks and everything. So it's nice to have like my own studio room now in my place. And, I am like so grateful for, those times and what led me to here.
I was gonna say that, like, would you say like the one thing you learned was patience throughout that time?
Yeah, I think it was patience, and also to believe in myself and knowing that like I can accomplish these things with the little that I had at that time too. Like that, just because I didn't have like all the fancy stuff, but I can still, make the garments that I want, and still, create this brand and show people that, creativity has no price tag on it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, like, very good point that you brought up, that we damn near preach up here. It's just like, I mean, everything you need you already have. Just like, and it's just like, especially like with today's tools, like it definitely just like, makes the world, or just any career path that you may be thinking of, just like a way more accessible place. You know what I mean? So just like to even have like you said, like you don't need all like the extra stuff that you maybe would have needed maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So like that's super dope. So like I guess when did you see like your brand start to like, gain traction, like, be it in Pittsburgh or back in Virginia?
I think in Virginia, when I first did my first pop-up, I met so many people. It was such a great experience, and just talking to people for the first time about my brand and seeing them be just excited for me as I was like such a big moment. And just gaining followers that weren't my friends me was like, okay, this is actually happening. This is like, I'm gonna be okay. Out. And I think that was like such a special moment for me. And then even here in Pittsburgh, being able to see that all over again, like having like Pittsburgh people follow me is like so cool. And I get so excited because it's, it's very validating. And I feel that it's something that I was always like, I hope, before I land here in Pittsburgh, that people will be receptive of the brand and of my story and what I'm here to do. And through like all the pop-up markets that I've done thus far, and just all the collaborative stuff that I've done, it's been like such a like good feeling to see people like even in person tell me that they're like so excited that they found me, or that they saw my work and stuff.
And then that's even so, like, let's just even take it to the Berg, like, when you started seeing like that traction here, like, could you attribute it to any one thing? Was it a combination of things? Was it a strategy change? Was it like something that, I don't know, just like, mentally changed for you? Like,
I think it was when I started to put myself more out there and like
there you go,
talk to people. And I was so nervous in the beginning, and I still am, of course, but
it's a different nervous though.
It's like the excitement of doing it all over again. But I do attribute it to like Kat Burton was someone that, like I said, I found very early on, and through that she's like, sent me like things to apply for, and she's like, hey, I think that this would be really good for you. Let's do it. And actually she was the one that had told me to apply for the Phipps Conservatory Summer Flower Show that was inspired by Billy Porter.
We'll definitely get into that. That's fucking super dope.
It was so much fun. She actually sent me the link like 2 weeks before the deadline, and I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, this is such a crazy opportunity. I will get to work right now this second and put a proposal together. So it was great.
So like when you said like it was just, I guess, a networking thing that kind of just like, no, I guess it is a mentality thing, because like you said, like it was putting yourself out there that even got you these links. And again, because like I love that point, just because in my life as well, like I'm kind of in the phase where just like, I'm trying to say yes to more things, and just do new shit, like just anything like I wouldn't normally do. I'm just doing something different just to, because again, like it can only benefit you, and like obviously, like, don't go do no extreme shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you were, yeah, I mean, chilling before, don't just go do crack or some shit. Like, just to try new things, you know what I mean? Like, definitely within reason. But, yeah, like, just saying yes to stuff that, like, you maybe would have taken a pause and been like, yeah, I don't know, like, it's like, and, like, we had, Natalie Bensavenga on just like the other day, and she was just like talking about gut feelings and like just like how like that first initial gut feeling about stuff, it's like usually a correct feeling, and like you just gotta follow that, and like the more you don't listen to it, like it's more of a disservice to yourself. You feel me? So no, I mean that's super dope that that lets all that for you. That's incredible. As far as sustainable fashion, right? Because like like your brand is pretty centric on that. Like what intrigued you or like led you to wanting to create a lane or base your brand off sustainable fashion?
So when I started school, I wasn't really I wasn't sure what I wanted to do exactly with my career and everything. And then about, I think it was my sophomore year, I took a class on sustainability, and I had already really, been into sustainability and cared about the environment. But I think that class, in having it at the same time as like my fashion degree program, it kind of really like flipped a switch inside of me where I was like, do I want to go with the status quo and pursue a career in the traditional fashion industry, knowing what we know about fast fashion, knowing what negative impacts are currently happening in the world through it. And I since then I went to my professors and I was like, what can I do to learn more about sustainable fashion? There wasn't anything like remotely close to the program in at that time. And so I worked with some of my professors to do like independent studies to kind of learn a little bit more about it. And my my collection, my graduating collection was like a sustainable collection. And it was something that I decided that I wanted to carry with me, and that knowing the fashion industry, if I was going to participate in any capacity, that it would be for the better, and to kind of go in and disrupt what has always been happening, and be the change that I want in the industry, and advocate for people to see it in a different light, and want to pursue other alternatives as well.
Absolutely. And again, just for people who may not know, because I know fast fashion, like so like what are things that are considered fast fashion?
So fast fashion is essentially the concept of mass producing garments. So a lot of the big name brand stores you see in malls today are manufacturing and producing tons of items, millions of garments per year, probably more.
Facts.
Overseas, and they're like, through that there are a lot of issues aside from sustainability, or that fall under sustainability. There's also the social impact of it as well. Knowing that there are garment workers that are being underpaid overseas, and what if there's like anything like unethical about the whole process as well. So
if there's anything on that, there's mad unethical shit. That's crazy.
So fast fashion is definitely the mass like production of clothing.
I mean, I'm like, I don't know how redundant this is, but like, any solutions? I mean, like obviously sustainable fashion is a pillar of that, but like, I don't know, is there anything that can be done? I don't know, like improve the conditions, improve the parameters in which some of this fast fashion stuff. Because I mean, even if it is considered fast fashion, I don't think the garment workers need to be struggling for food in order for this to be a reality. So like, I mean, just like from your own personal opinion, like, is there anything that can be done as far as moving towards a solution, or like maybe changing the I guess the fast fashion ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest change that can be done is the change in policy and what these like giant corporations are contracting these manufacturers to do is definitely like calling out these brands
Yeah.
to do better, because they know exactly what they're doing, and we also know exactly what they're doing. And we're at a day and age where the consumer has so much buying power.
That's a fact.
Demand more, demand better, and demand like a real change in the industry.
Yeah, no, for sure. I completely agree. I think, the consumer is definitely in the like. I think us as consumers have more power than we think, but at the same time, I also think that the corporations or like the businesses that are at play currently, they don't want us to think that. They want us to that it's the other way around. They like, we need, like the big corporations or just like the big businesses to like, make the decisions for us and like tell us what we want. Where it's just like, nah, it's the other way around. Like you make stuff for us. Like, you know what I mean? So, no, I completely agree. As far as like, your current closet, like, have you kind of shifted a lot of your wear more towards sustainable fashion? Like,
yeah, I think I would say my closet right now, like it's 100% thrifted. Like I love thrifting. It's been like a core part of me my whole life. And now like whenever, like if I want to go like shopping or I need something for something specific, like I always, it's like always thrifted. Everything is thrifted.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, like have you ever been to any of the like thrift pop-ups in the South Side?
Oh, I think I've been to there was kind of like a vintage market.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where it was in Southside, but yeah, I'm always hunting on Instagram, like where are all these events?
Where y'all coming in? Yeah, no, the joint on the Southside is lit. I got easily one of my favorite shirts. It's like this like almost like a silk, like I wore it and then like everyone's like, yo, what is that material? I'm just like, yo, I don't even know. I got it for $10 at the thrift joint, but like it's one of my favorite shirts. Like so like I definitely love thrifting. So as far as like ways your business or like your brand to this point has evolved, how would you say like since like in the years you started? How has your brand changed, evolved, grown, with you? Like, how would you say it has?
I think the biggest thing is how I pursue my mission for my brand.
Yeah.
And so my mission for my brand is to provide an alternative to fast fashion and spread awareness of sustainable fashion.
Yeah.
And, in the beginning, it was kind of just getting the business off the ground, getting the brand name out there. And so I was more focused on the production side and was trying to make a bunch of stuff for like pop-ups and whatnot. So that I was kind of leaning more towards like manufacturing and just doing everyday wear.
Got you.
So the biggest shift has been, finding the balance of doing that and also doing the fun, like artistic, like avant-garde pieces.
Yeah, right.
My heart yearns
sure, yeah. The true artist's plea, like right.
Yeah, it got to a point where it was getting really lopsided, where I was spending a lot of time doing markets and trying to have that brand recognition, and my little heart was like yearning for doing something more creative and like being able to go get back to the designer that I was like in school and experimenting with stuff and trying like to do crazy designs. And so I think the biggest shift was finding that balance in being an artist and an entrepreneur. Because I think sometimes you have to remind yourself that I'm a business owner, but I'm also an artist.
Two different sides of the brain. It's like the numbers and the colors. Yeah.
Like, I mean, there definitely has to be a balance.
Facts,
in order to keep the business alive, for sure. I can't just make like one gown every few months. I think that was the biggest shift, and I'm glad that I did, because I'm still working on it, finding that balance, but it's slowly kind of getting better and like finding that sweet spot of like being able to do more of the business savvy side of things, and then also having fun and being creative and artistic and letting like my brain explode onto the world.
I was about to say, yeah, and like before we move on, when you were like, when did you kind of like initially feel that lopsidedness? Would you say, was it more of like a burnout thing, or just like, yo, like I'm focused on all this like manufacturing, all this stuff, and it's just like I haven't had fun with this in like a little bit, like is it kind of situation like that?
Oh, it was definitely the burnout.
Yeah, facts.
Approaching, like I did like a production run of some stuff. I think it was at this point 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And it, like, I spent the majority of the year just focused on like, pushing out like my it was my Earth is Groovy line, which it was like sweats and sweatpants and shorts, and I had so much fun making it, and I was so glad that people like were so receptive to it, and it did so well. And but like I said, I'm a one-woman show, so then these orders came in, and I like, now I have to sit here and actually make all these orders and get these get these out. And so it was something that it was truly like burnout. Like at that point, once that production run ended, I was like, I'm tired, but I also like want more. Like I want to be more artistic. So it was definitely that moment.
Yeah, and it's just, I was just curious because just in an entrepreneurial creative world, man, I mean that burnout it can get crazy, bro. Like I mean, I've had my bouts with burnout, or what I felt like was burnout, and it's just interesting to see how people kind of get past that hump, because I mean, like, you just got to keep it fun, I mean, like there's definitely business elements that like you want to keep efficient for sure, but I mean that creative element is like why we're doing this, I mean, like it's what makes it lit, like so I just I'm interested to get your perspective on that. So coming back to a big moment. A couple of years ago, you and a few other designers were chosen, to recreate some looks for. And then, if you don't know who Billy Porter is, I don't know, maybe get out under the rock. But especially if you're from, from Pittsburgh, man. But, Billy Porter is a, fashion icon, from Pittsburgh. And he held a fashion show at, Phipps Conservatory, which was, it just looked like just beautiful. I mean, like it just looked crazy, and like I think that was a great venue. So just what was that moment like for you? Like just like kind of like working in something for someone like Billy Porter, and just like what do you think, or how do you think that experience just even kind of shaped and just allowed you to grow as a designer?
So it was just a real experience.
I was sure, yeah.
The whole time I was like, I can't believe, there's a possibility that Billy Porter will see something that I made.
Yeah.
And it was like, I felt all the emotions throughout the whole process. And I think the biggest thing that for me that I learned and gained was the believing in myself, honestly. I spent about a year creating that piece since I designed it. And so it was a very long year of, figuring things out, trial and error, experimenting to make sure that, what I told them I would make.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Actually working. And so, I ran through all the emotions. And one of the main things was like, when that self-doubt hits you in the middle of the project and you're like, am I actually capable of doing this? Did they make the right choice picking me? And, just kind of pushing through that, imposter syndrome and telling yourself like they chose you for a reason. You have proven to them and yourself that you have done this, time and time again and can deliver. And, you just have to, believe in yourself and like, just let the outside noise, like
keep the fuck shit out. You can say, keep the bullshit out. Yeah, right.
Really like hone in,
right.
And I think that's like, now that's how I work. I love to kind of silence the noise around me and just really lock in, and I think that's how like the best work gets done.
No, of course. Did you get to meet Billy at all, or?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
We didn't get the chance to, but he did make a stop in the city and saw the exhibit.
Okay.
So it was really cool. I'm honored that he even got to like be in the same room.
Yeah, yeah.
The same air as my garment.
Yeah. No, for sure. And you know, you mentioned earlier that you know, Cat Burton you know, kind of gave you the application, like the link to the application. What was it, like 2 weeks you said prior to the thing? Like, I mean, what was that like? So like when like you initially got it, was it something that she had mentioned before? Did she just like say so, like, you know, here's this thing happening, you know, try it out? Like, you know, what was that interaction like?
It was a very casual conversation.
Okay,
We were
what
meeting for something else,
okay.
and she was just like, "Oh, by the way, I like saw this like circulating in around, and I think that you would be a good fit for it." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, what is it?" And she like told me, and I was like, "Oh my god, like of course I'll do it."
Yeah, right.
Like, when's the deadline? She's like, "Oh yeah, like just 2 weeks from now." So like, you know,
about
if you
14
can-
days from now. Yeah, yeah.
you know, if you can put a proposal together,
Yeah.
you know, definitely go for it. And so like from there, I just was like designing like so many like sketches and like, you know, putting it all together. And,
Right.
and I was like, I have to make this work. I have to come up with something that,
Right.
you know, that I'm like, that I really want to do. And so it was honestly like one of those things where in the like with such a tight timeline,
Right.
like the best work kind of sometimes.
Yeah, no,
the
no.
best
Yeah,
ideas
like
come
when
out
your
of
back's
that.
against the wall,
Yeah.
like in a sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It was fun, but sometimes that's how I like to operate is like, you know, see what comes up.
Yeah, right. And then as far as you know, the other designers, like, was it more of like a collaborative effort where like did you guys just kind of do your own thing, or like, you know, how you know, what was the setup with that, like
Yeah, it was kind of more like every designer kind of did their own
had their own station or
thing.
something?
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause, there were some from out of state
Right.
designers, so we kind of just all were off in our own studios designing and creating our pieces, and then even through like the installation, we like individually came in and installed the pieces individually. So yeah, it was I'm sad that I didn't get to meet them because I like loved all the
Yeah,
different
right,
artists
yeah.
that were part of the show. I was just like in awe by the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful show. It was so much creativity in one building. I was just honored to even just be one part of the whole thing.
Absolutely, yo, no, and then just to even follow up with that, so that happened last year, right?
It was in 2022.
22. Okay, yeah, forgive me, Kia. So a couple of years ago, and then you're just coming off a super dope event. Again, like, you know, we were talking about it, you know, on our way here. It was like a new collection that you actually collab with Cat on.
Yes.
Yeah, Cadence, correct?
Yes,
Is
Cadence
the
collection.
yeah, the Cadence collection. Shout out to the Cadence collection. Shout out to Cat, man. That looked crazy. And yeah, you guys held the showcase at the airport, the Pittsburgh airport.
Yeah.
Insane. And I love that idea because like I was just like, you know, kind of seeing some footage of like just like that, like kind of glass, like, you know, window of like everyone walking
Yeah.
through. I was like, that's fire. That's crazy. Like, so if you just want, you know, kind of want to break down how that came together, you know, what your role was within that, and then you know, just like, you know, how it was, you know, working with Kat, you know, not like what, like a couple years after, you know, like you initially moved to the city and like just even like, you know, got up with her, like
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Kat is on the board of arts for the airport,
Right.
and
Oh, okay.
so they, you know, gave her the reins to put on like a show or an exhibit of some sorts. And she had the idea of a fashion show, so she came to me, and we have been working together through like the Children's Museum. I've been
Right.
there for a few events, and you know, I love Kat, and I was so excited to like finally be able to like collaborate one-on-one with her on something so
Yeah.
big. And I was like, let's do this of like 100%.
Yeah, let's go.
What's the timeline?
Yeah, right.
You know, and so we just kind of like ran with it. We had found out like I want to say like maybe a year ago that we were gonna do this, but we were kind of waiting for the green light from the airport for a while, and so
Makes sense.
when we finally got the green light, we're like, okay, let's make this work. Like we have, you know, a set amount of time. It's, you know, it's gonna be a crunch, but we're gonna make it happen. You know,
So like
'cause
with
it's
the
worth it.
airport, and like I'm sorry to cut you off, because
No.
like I'm just trying to get like the logistics of it. So like as far as like the airport giving you like the green light, like what, like were they just trying to make sure like they could block off like the time for you, or like how, like what?
I think they just kind of got busy with other stuff. I know there's like renovations happening and everything.
Okay,
so
right.
they wanted to be sure that there was going to be a good space for it and like be able to like give it the attention that it needs.
Copy. Okay.
Especially since this was actually like their first time they've ever done.
I can imagine.
Show.
Yeah. It's
so,
crazy.
You know, there's like a lot of logistics to like go through and like learn and plan for. So once we finally got that green light, it was kind of like, okay, we can put our attention on this. Let's make it happen.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just walk me through the day. Like, I mean, how, like, seeing that all come together, how they come, like, did y'all rehearse? Like, what was that process like leading up to it?
Yeah. So it was a crazy few months. So we had a little, I want to say we started kind of around the summertime.
Makes sense. Okay.
And like just push through to make it all happen. And a lot of it was mostly a lot of meetings with me and Kat. We like sat down several times, and you know, I did the initial sketches. First we sat down and I was like, okay, Kat, what do you want? Like, what is this, like, what's the story? What's the vision? What do we want to do? And she told me like she wanted to do something that would kind of represent the closing of a chapter in her life. She's about to turn 30 in December. And so she's super excited to kind of, you know, delve into her 30s. And it was kind of like a farewell and also a look back at, you know, her life thus far. And also kind of a very broad storyline too, that, you know, a lot of people can connect to of the journey of a creative and an artist. So we sat down, we came up with the idea and the story, and you know, I put out like all the sketches, and when we decided on the final like lineup, we were like, okay, let's do this. Let's, you know, find the models, find the hair artists, find the makeup artists, and you know, it was like such a fun, like wild, like few months, because we had such a tight like timeline, but I was like, we were both so excited for this that like we were working on it like every single day. Like we were texting each other every day, like updates. We were like, okay, you know, what do we do for this? What do we do for that? How do we like this? How do we like that? And so it was like a streamline, a conversation of just like, you know, bouncing off ideas constantly. And it was like so like motivating. It's such, like so refreshing.
Dynamic
like,
duo, man.
It was just something that it only like grew and grew as we were working, because our brains were just like, you know, bouncing off the walls. And we you know, we were able to meet the models. We scheduled like the fittings, like the sample samples of
Did you pick the models, or did Kat have more of a hand? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I was like, Kat, you know everyone in the studio.
All right.
I will be in the studio, like hunched over my sewing machine, and just like let me know when they can come over. So, and I mean, I like completely trusted Kat.
Of course, sure.
They were all incredible. They did such a fantastic job, and I'm so glad that I got Kat to also model, because she was like kind of indecisive for a moment, but I was like, this is like your moment. So like this is like this is your like all for you, you know?
Absolutely.
And so we like got all the models together. We figured out like the logistics, and you know, I spent like a good amount of time in this like sewing studio by myself, just like cranking out all these pieces. We did mostly like fittings with the models. We didn't get to do too much rehearsal, but we got to do a photo shoot beforehand.
Okay, you go.
For like promotional photos. So it was really fun. It was nice to like have the models like in the garments, you know, in like kind of just out and about, being able to walk around, and, like kind of get comfortable in the pieces, so that they can, you know, go to the fashion show. You know, I've lived in this already. Like I'm familiar with it, and it all came together like so like beautifully.
Dog, and you know, again, I was just checking out stories, you know, and I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, whose idea was it to have it in the airport? It's Cass, I'm sure. Or?
Yeah, I guess like they she like had the option to do like any type of showcase, and so she was she loves fashion, and it was something that was kind of like a no-brainer. Like, let's, you know, turn things upside down and let's, have a fashion show in the airport. It was so great. It was like very like flash mobby.
Yeah,
like we just
dog,
there-
right? Yeah.
we had to walk like through baggage claim to the actual area where the runway was. And
Right,
so, like,
right.
people are just traveling, trying to get their luggage, and they're like, wait, what? There's like, all
Yo,
these
that is
couture pieces,
that is
walking
funny. I
around, like,
love
this
that.
is how I travel. Like, this is just how I normally
You guys
travel.
just got to calm down. Yeah, this is just a regular day
Yeah.
at the Pittsburgh airport.
No, it was great. It was so cool. Like, people were stopping us as we were walking by and, like, giving us all compliments. And, like, they were just, everyone was so, like, taken away.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause, no one expects that, while they're traveling.
Of course, right.
Even the employees
Of
at the
course.
airport. And so it was such, like.
Got people crashing service cars. Like, yo, what is going?
Like,
what is going on?
Yeah.
That is crazy, yo. I mean, and just even for like you as a designer, like, what's it like? Because like you said that like you spend your time sewing up, just hunched over. You know what I mean? But like going from sketching, making and stuff, and then seeing people just do their thing. You know what I mean? In your designs, like, I mean, what is that like for you?
It's something that I'm not used to after all these years, and like because I worked with the pieces so closely for so long, like I was staring at it every day for several months. Like I was like, I'm in my head about these pieces. I don't even know what to even think of these things anymore. And then it all changes when the pieces are on the model. The crowd is there. And people are like cheering, and like it's a whole different atmosphere, and it just it reminds you why you do it, why you were up late night, like all the nights sewing super late, and it just makes it all worth it to have people see it, because I spent so much time with it all by myself in my studio, and Kat got to see it in the models, but we really kept it like pretty like quiet. We didn't share it with anybody like leading up to it. So we kind of just like exploded yesterday with like all the videos, all the pictures. It all kind of came out yesterday, and so it was a feeling of like it's finally like out there in the world. It's finally released to the public. And it was like I was on cloud 9 the whole time.
Absolutely. No, as you should have been, yo. Cathy, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time. You did an incredible job on your first podcast. This was, Cathy's first podcast, man. She bodied it, but this is the point in the power where, the floor is yours. If you have anything you want to plug, if you want to be found on social media, give them the tags. If not, don't got to worry about it. But if you got anything coming up, anything that people should look out for, definitely let them know. But thank you so much for taking the time. Your story is incredible, and the floor is yours. And, thank you for coming up.
Well, great. Well, first, thank you so much for having me here. It is my first podcast, so I'm like so honored and excited to be here. I would, of course, plug the Cadence collection that will be on display at the Pittsburgh Airport, and we'll be sharing like exactly. It'll be like around the check-in area. And there'll be like a big display case with all the pieces there. And I'm so excited to have people come by and just see, what we were able to create over the last few months, and understand the story and kind of, resonate with it if you can.
Absolutely. And listen, thank you again for taking the time. Here we go. Oh, yeah. And well, where can people find you on social media? Do you want to, or the brand at least?
Yeah, you can follow me on my Instagram. It's at Cathy Olivar Brand. Olivar is Olivar Brand. And yeah.
Awesome. All right. Again, Cathy, thank you so much. MIC Podcast, man, episode 134. Cathy Olivar in the building, where everyone is a master of their own creation. And we're out, bro. Peace.